こんにちは、タンです。Hi, I'm Tan. I first came to Japan in September 2018 to study abroad, and I had many culture shocks in the first few months. Even though Japan and my home country, Vietnam, are both Asia, I feel like Japan is somehow very different from the rest countries in Asia. When comparing Japan and Vietnam, I had these culture shocks that were so interesting that I want to share with you guys today. So let's move to the first one.
1, 2, 3.
People at government offices are very polite. One of the first things you need to do when coming to Japan is register your address and do some other paperwork at the city hall. The city halls in Vietnam are run by the police, and their attitude is terrible. In Vietnam, those places are always crowded and chaotic. Sometimes for just one simple paperwork, you will need to wait for 3 to 5 hours. And what's even worse is that the staffs who are police are always busy and grumpy. At city halls in Japan, there are very clear signs that show you where to take the paper to fill out, where you should go to submit it, how the process is done step by step, and how long you need to wait. But in Vietnam, there are no signs, and you will always have to ask the people there. And when you try to ask the police, they will likely scold you if they are busy right now, and to be honest, they're like busy 24/7 all the time, so they will be grumpy all the time and scold at you. For an introvert like me, it's really stressful to go to the city halls in Vietnam every time I need to get some paperwork done. But in Japan, it feels like heaven. The staffs are so polite, so nice, and so patient with a broken Japanese like me back then. もう日本人のおもてなし文化はね、申し分なし。The next culture shock I had was that most neighborhoods are extremely quiet. I lived in 6 different neighborhoods in Tokyo, and the one thing they share is that all of them are very quiet from day to night. Most of the time, I hear nothing either when I walk on the street or when I stay inside my apartment. The truth is, there was a little noisy neighborhood. It was Yanaka in Nippori, but this one is actually a very famous tourist spot. So yeah, there's no way that it's quiet from day to night. There was still noise, but it was partly because my house was really old and the soundproofing is terrible. Yeah, comparing to the other tourist spots in Tokyo, yeah, I would say it's still quiet. But in Vietnam, unless you stay in tall buildings or some luxurious neighborhoods, or your house has an incredible soundproofing, you will always hear something. The sound of motorcycles, mothers scolding their children, clubs playing loud music until 10 p.m. Unimaginable for Japanese people, right? The third one might be very familiar to you. It's not that new, but still I was shocked when I came to Japan. It is vehicles stopping at crosswalks for pedestrians. I suppose that you guys have seen these kinds of videos on TikTok or YouTube. And it is true. In Japan, there is a very strict law that if a car doesn't stop for a pedestrian to cross the street, the driver will be fined. Well, in Vietnam, we do have that law too, but it's not strict at all. And even at the white crossing lines, us pedestrians still have to be very careful not to get bumped into by the cars or motorcycles. Crossing the street without anyone stopping has become a survival instinct for us Vietnamese. But when I came to Japan, I could finally drop that instinct because any car would slow down from 5 meters away. Even if I get scared and nervous and I try to let them go first, they never do. They would just stand there and wait until I cross the street. Back then, whenever I went back to Vietnam on school vacations, I couldn't even cross the street by myself, and then my family and my friends would look at me and say, "Trời ơi, mày còn là người Việt Nam vậy?" Moving to the next culture shock, we have people carrying their dogs in baby strollers. I was so shocked when I first saw this in Japan. Well, it's not like everywhere, but you will see it pretty often. As I search on the internet, it seems like there are a few reasons for them to do this. The dog is old or sick, so it can walk on its own, or the owners don't want them to be stepped on. That's cruel. Or the owners don't want their dogs to cause troubles to the other people, just like that culture Meiwaku Kakerina in Japan. Or they just simply don't want their dogs to eat or drink something weird off the street. I feel like in Japan, people take pets very seriously. In Vietnam, the pets are quite free. It's not like we don't love them. In many households, we still see them as a part of the family. But once the pet grows up, we don't really look after them or put them under control like how Japanese people often do. But given how strict the rules are in terms of walking the pet on the street in Japan, it's completely understandable. The next one I was really surprised about is that there are lots of old people on the street. In Japan, people aged 65 or older now make up nearly 30% of the population. This ratio in Vietnam is only 10%. So of course, I would see more old people on Japan street. But honestly, it was way more than what I imagined. In Japan, old people go out a lot. They take the train and bus. They travel. They go shopping for groceries. In Vietnam, old people do go out too. They are not hikikomori, but they don't go shopping much because they usually live with their children, so the children usually do the hard work in the house. Also because the traffic is dangerous and public transportation isn't that convenient yet, like in Japan, so most of their activities stay within their own neighborhood where they live. I feel like in Vietnam, many of the elderly people that you see on the street are actually out there working to make a living. At the end of the day, Vietnam is still a developing country, so comparing to Japan, we still have a lot of poor people. Well, by poor, I mean extremely poor, like they don't even have that money to eat. Yeah. So this is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching until the end. And let's make it clear, this is just a comparison between Vietnam and Japan, and I'm not saying which one is better than the other. Well, except for that attitude thing at the government offices. These are just culture differences and each has a trade-off side. Okay, thank you very much. I will see you in the next videos. Ciao nè, bye bye.